Welcome to the lovely IHP community and 5D Collective. We began our day with a couple of shorts. In case you didn't tune into them, we talked about different educational podcasts, and there's one for mindfulness meditation, Tara Brock, for love and flirting tips. We got a lovely woman who is a love and attachment coach, and she's my favorite. So these are genuine intellectuals and not the ones who I make fun of. The IHP community are people who take care of their self for real, so their whole selves. They are securely attached and they want to keep secure attachment, and they're self-led. So with mindfulness practices, we get to implement our own mindset skills because we sift our sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. And that's because with the inner growth mindset, you deal with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds, and unexpecteds with an open heart from within while going with the flow. That's the basic inner growth mindset. There's main modules for free on the website. And in the meantime, as I continue to get in-depth information on how to support everyone who is a mystic or not with self-help personal development, you get to hear about how once your experience of being alive is profound, thank you, Sadhguru, everything you do becomes profound. Yes, that's because of an integrated brain and a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating life. And those who pretend to heal trauma, they're not going to be anything except for following pseudo-intellectuals, and they don't want. Tara Brock's mindfulness meditation teaches you how to get out of the waves. I did it without Tara Brock, and that's because I noticed that I didn't have to go left and right. So that's why securely attached, self-led woman will let you know, mystic, there's no twin flame journey that brought me anything except for, I have very interesting, so we'll talk about that, okay? And the lovely love and attachment coach is Kaylee, Kayli, Larkin, Larkin. So again, we take seriously everything. Thank you again, Sadhguru. It is not the amount of action, but the depth of experience that makes life rich and fulfilling. You won't be rich or fulfilling if you're still living out your karma, which means your trauma stuff. But some people are emotionally immature, not choice. No, that's why Robert Sapolsky's book determined their first 3 years of life. So by it not being their conscious choice, I, an empowered feminine with my own masculine, my empowered masculine, it's divine masculine, then masculine the left and feminine the right. They work together. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. So the left is our chit-chatter. The right, I have full access to my empowered feminine, divine feminine. It's my nervous system. So my embodied brain works with the same 3 subcortical areas that yours does, which is why the PDP framework is way more accurate than the personality enneagram that gives stories. Because I am a perfectionist who is imperfect, because I know that I am not good, because there are grown-ups and children, as I was 11, 12, 13, 14, as a child. I remember all of the encounters with that, which my mother showed me what to do. Remember, self-respect and respect. And I said, okay, Mom. And remember, if they touch you, you come to me. I said, okay, Mom, don't worry. And if they do use their hands, and they're very, very ignorant. So when people use equations that have nothing to do with your life, you'll know that they have childhood trauma, and they don't go to Patrick Tian. He's a good childhood trauma therapist for those who are serious of themselves. So anybody who's ignoring their trauma symptoms, lazy, procrastination, drinking, drugging, fucking, inner, outer critic, any of that which is maladaptive, we know what to do. Nothing, because God reminds me, like my mom and like any of those therapists that I asked, hey, how do I help? No work is stressful. It is your inability to manage your body, mind, and emotions that make it stressful. Thank you, Sadhguru. Yes, so when I see a fancy man and woman and more in suit pretending to care about their children, pretending to care about their spouse, pretending to know what love, flirting, and life is, they're pretending because their performance is an act. And the pseudo-intellectuals, not only do my ears notice something about it, no, it's my gut. They don't expand me because they're bullshitting. And also they just use words to create groups. And those groups they're creating live in ancient news, because when I hear a man saying he loves his children, he plays Russian roulette on TV, and then he tells me step parents don't love their children, I say, I have a parent who people want to keep calling him a step parent. He is not a step parent. And when you stand up for that and people want to use what they say tradition is integrity and vows and virtue, and I say, excuse me, tell me, What does it mean to be a parent, please? Because that's the one Maria is going to get serious. Is it not that you support someone, a third attunement, repairing ruptures? So you teach me by being proactively participating, and you lead with an example, FYI, not by being actually a bad example. And a bad example is when you are not capable of being an integrated brain and restorative embodiment at IHP. You're giving a bad example. You haven't tapped into your higher potential and you're ignoring the signs. And the signs are pretty clear. Because again, the smart therapists have all proven, neuroscientists included, that there's no demon inside the body of anyone, and our human species consistently evolves with decentralizing of the self. But you won't be able to move out of a good decentralizing of the self experience when you're spiraling in hell, because you're ruminating, because you use your fists. Life hits you hard. I'm about to make fun of suffering Buddha. You want to use the pain point, and you want to use the dark sides of neuroplasticity. Okay, so when people want to tell those of us who are securely attached and self-led, and we have an inner child who's safe, that we have lived a very lucky, charmed, blessed, yes, actually, I can say yes, I have a roof over my head. I have learned since I was a teenager how not to hang out with backstabbers, betrayers, and liars, who, in fact, all to this day, as a 45-year-old woman, I can tell you I'll spot it when I see it, the fakos and the real ones. But God tells me to not judge human suffering a waste of my fucking time, because he knows every one of my brothers and sisters can make that choice of what? Going to a therapist, one, to get out of procrastination, to get out of doing that which is maladaptive patterns of behavior. They can also do something called in our time. Anyone who wants can pretty much pick themselves up and do that which is their inner well-being, which is, again, managing body, mind, and emotions. Yes, but you manage by becoming mindfully aware again. So with Tara Brock, it was a great video. I didn't need her. Some people can use her. Some people won't do it at all. Also, what I'm going to say is, as Pat Ogden, Stephen Porges, Peter Levine, and a bunch more smart people show, people don't know how to continue bringing forth their A game if they still have very deep-seated childhood trauma coming up. And that's why Patrick Tian is awesome. And people who make fun of him and say he's not making men, no, he is. And Terry Real is too. The pseudo-intellectual men and women are not making men or women out of anyone, but the ones who don't want to go heal. Again, they like to play the far, far west and yesterday's news and say things like step-parents don't love their children, which is really, again, I know what era you come from. And as for polyamory, monoamory, making up shit that we don't know what vows, virtue, tradition, again, it's a bunch of bullshit. And anybody who has a side, I'm not interested in having them here, because we're all grown-ups and we're all attachment trauma informed in the effective way if you're caring to be yourself. And again, I'm my whole self. So genuine authenticity means you don't use pseudo-intellectuals. You use genuine intellectuals for information, because you know they're telling you information. You recognize what a pseudo-intellectual is and how they're playing an algorithm and they're playing teams. And then you know who the idiots are, because again, if they don't want to go heal, we got people who don't take their children to a hospital because they think apparently God wanted us to stay, I don't know, in the caves. So the dinosaurs are not the ones of us who understand how it works to be a person. You care of yourself. You want to be a whole self. You take secure attachment and creating resiliency in a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating life seriously, and that's when you're going to be a lover and you're going to actually live life, and you're going to know no stress because you're not performing, okay? Because you don't have a child who is actually used to being scared of love. And it's very clear when you're scared of love, because you continue again to mistreat yourself, and you continue to lie, and you continue to be in a desert, and you continue to use your mind in ways that are unnecessary, because being yourself mindfully with integrity and flaws means that you know how to use the inner growth mindset. Again, we do dharma, not karma. That's the 5D collective, and that's spiritual mystics and also just those who are mindfully aware, again, because they can be the emotionally invincible squad. That's what we're going to become. We're the elite. There is somebody who thinks that emotional invincibility elite does not exist. and that an avoidance can send a secure attached person spiraling down in hell. They don't know that we don't use our brains that way. No one is immune to anxiety because every single one of us has the three subcortical areas of anger, sadness, and fear. I know all three like the back of my hand of Maria. It is not the amount of action, but the depth of experience that makes life rich and fulfilling. And God gave me a very blessed life. So I thank God, which is why I don't need a reward for doing emotions. And I don't find it invincible, but I'm going to play with the word because apparently, again, people think that emotional invincibility doesn't exist. Well, if they had mental invincibility, they would also have emotional invincibility. And then they'd have physical invincibility. And then they'd wake up very refreshed every day. And they would be able to do everything moderately because they're not hanging out in a desert ready to dry out because of ignoring the signs. I saw the sign. So people who ignore the signs, we're going to be back with an extended on this. They are not empowered feminines or empowered masculines, but they like to tell us that we're the same emotionally immature people. They are the ones who ignore healing their trauma with a good therapist. They think they don't need one. They use their mouth. They follow suit intellectuals, and they actually don't bring harmony to themselves or to the world because their head is full of, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And they also use their time that way. It's very ineffective. I like to use my time with positive people and that are securely attached, that are genuinely intelligent and genuine intellectuals that actually know moderation and that then enjoy to do activities that bring the body health and the mind health and not use it in any type of dramatic entertainment. While some people tell me that I don't have a variety of culture, like because they want to watch all, I say, do you know that our superheroes cut each other's noses up? And thank you, Sadhguru, for making me aware. And that really is that the highlight of your creativity. So I think of all the ways that emotionally immature people have and continue to use art with drama and torture. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. I do use stress, and I also appreciate every day because I want to wake up tomorrow, and I also want to wake up after tomorrow and come to HP and build a community of smart actual lovers, not the ones who actually you have to watch. So one of the things in our extended story is as I'm trying to let go of a hand in the desert, I'm headed to the village. This hand won't let go, and I'm not afraid of the hand because this is a loved one, and I actually am happy that they're holding my hand because I'm having a good time with them. And I'm in this dream, though, I'm trying to go that way, and they're just there, and God is chiming in, and it's not time to let go of the hand. And eventually, though, this whole, to bring it to close, I'm not even going to go into detail of it because this is a very sad story, and that's it. Empowered feminine masculines is going to say it's a sad story because there's plenty of opportunity, and people want to tell me that it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you get hit. You're an idiot if you get hit once and you didn't notice it. You need twice? Okay. Now you're a fool. The third time you're a buffoon. Please stop. I have better things to do with my time. That's why lovely God chimes in and reminds me not to judge human suffering a waste of my fucking time because it's not my choice for you to open up your heart to yourself. It's your choice, and if you did do it, then you're still here and you're going to come back for the stories because you know that you are a whole self, or you enjoy it and you're doing stuff to get to become the whole self. You're not making up some bullshit statement of we're all fucked up or there's no emotional invincible person. You're going to notice, oh, I love to do my integrated brain and restored embodiment. It feels really great to be in a meditative state all the time. That's why I didn't need you, Buddha. I love you, man, but ventral vagal toning, I didn't need you. I got Jesus, and then I got Maria, and then I got Mom, and I got God, and I got, but Buddhism and the Buddha meditation and Tara Brach and everybody who gives you mindfulness meditation, it's ventral vagal portfolio toning exercises. Mindfulness is integration of the brain, and you are going to have a good time with decentralizing of the self if your brain is intact. If instead you have nightmares and you shiver and you feel shit close and you watch horror movies but you don't care to get out of that and a bunch more and not go to therapy again, it's very clear why 4D is staying stuck where they are. They use their amygdala, their frontal lobes are flopped down, which is why Robert Sapolsky, man, if you're right with determined, it's fine here because we're only going to have the smart ones. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, who know genuine intellectuals are way more fascinating, but we sure like to make fun of the pseudo ones because they think they're brilliant while in destructive mode, and we're like, sure. Wow, Cinderella. And what? You love your children? No, you love the idea of being called father. And then I don't know who mother is, but I will for sure not be around your children because I'm dying already when I think, oh my gosh, I hope they get some good therapists from somewhere. Somewhere I hope they meet Patrick Tiahan, and that way they can get an actual intelligent mind there speaking to them. And if their child is still there, they're going to save that child for real, not pretend. Because that's the other thing. Cowards. I don't care to have cowards. You leave your child to rot in hell, it's not Lucifer. You can have your actual very, very pretty suit and go and prance around. This is the one thing I consistently as a teenager told people. I said, God always wins. Lucifer's the fallen angel. Don't think it's the other way around. And while some people will say, oh, but money buys riches. Does it now? As I watch you wither away like Dorian Gray. I'm going to say, I'm happy being poor, even if I'm not. But my point is, when you know what inner well-being is, you don't look at somebody with moolah or whatever they want to call it and think, wow, that's a... And the ones in the in-between either, by the way. There's plenty of in-betweens. I mean, I don't know which ones piss me more off, quote unquote. The in-betweens who use the words, actually they all piss me off because I don't like hypocrites. But I'm a hypocrite too, like my facade friend said, because I say this and that are true, which is true because I'm an integrated brain. So when you meet people who don't know how to say this and that are true, it's because they don't know, hey, Sam Harris, what's up? Cherishable beliefs definitely could be falsifiable. In the meantime, though, I know that my brain cannot fall out of my asshole, and any academic who speaks those words is an idiot. But there's plenty of them, and we thank them for the hard work the doer does, because, you know, that's a doer. They ignore the fact that they're a doer. I may look like I'm a doer on the outside. Again, no work is stressful because inside, I'm having a good day. It is my ability not only to manage my body, mind, emotions, but it's also my mastery of my 14-month-old. And then thank you, God, and Neil deGrasse, and the fact that I know dark matter, dark energy, please, Astro, don't hit me. I have 24 hours. Guess what I'm going to make of it? A productive day. From my heart to my gut to my mind, alignment, and this lovely sign. Mwah. God always with me, even though I'm not welcomed by all of my Christian Catholic brothers and sisters as they spread rumors of yoga bringing demons out of you instead of caring about people's health. So I don't enjoy any pseudo-intellectuals. I do enjoy making fun of them now that I know the word. And I do enjoy knowing also that people who are hypocrites, like the spot people, that's how lame they are. You know, a small ego when they have to go out of their way to pick and point out anyone, because really, you can do way better. You walk a walk and talk a talk if you're so sure of yourself. But again, when you're sure of yourself from your gut, we're talking to a little 3-year-old, not a grown-up, and their 16-year-old is blind as can be. In the meantime, I'm talking with my heart, with my gut, with my brain. You're a buffoon because I'm a prefrontal. So again, my presence knows what your nervous system is doing. And again, nobody's going to be telling anybody any of this because that's emotionally immature people. And that's why with my teenage boyfriend, as he's in effective realism telling me that my faith in God is out of fear, I'm saying nothing about the fact that his friend killed himself, that he got cheated on by his first very serious relationship by his best friend, and that what he's doing, now I know the word, is basically with his effective realism, emotionally immature, adaptive child, thinking they know everything about everyone and everything, and giving me your subjective experience from your trauma, your past, your belief. You're arrogant, you're insulting. No, because I know better. I don't need you to define me. I don't have a self-image. I have a self. It's Maria, and you just spoke shit from your mouth because you don't know how to speak from a place of differentiation of the self with respect to another human being and with that which is integrity, humility, and the fact that you don't walk in my shoes, never will, because that's how it works. So when you actually are self-accepting and a grown man, grown woman, grown day, you respect people's walk because candlelight illuminates the damage beneath the feet with wave of lights. Jesus walked. Jesus carried a cross. That's why I make fun of you, Buddha, not because I disrespect you. I don't sit under a tree. And when someone wants to tell me they think what my life, bring it on. Whatever it is, I ain't going to be the one who says, let me explain. It's not luck. Gary Vee, man. This man interrupts Gary Vee 3 times as he's being interviewed because he tells him he got lucky. And I was looking for something that I had from this, I think his name is Brent, I don't know, but he's a political science dude, and he was talking about how we get lucky and this bell curve. So I just think of this. Anyone who thinks of life and luck is somebody that I'm going to know has had a hard life, But if they've had a hard life and they've learned how to make the best of their brain, they will not be talking about life as hard, because they will be knowing what it is to actually use that brain of theirs. Because any smart neuroscientist and any smart therapist can tell you all about eustress. So mindfulness meditation, again, Tara Brach. Love flirting tips, that lovely lady that I mentioned before, Kaylee Larkin, I think. And if you want 5D Mystic fun stories and a journey, for personal development, again, you come here, one-to-one mentorship, the masterclass, you sign up, the workshops, you sign up, but it's because you want to be yourself, because you are yourself. And you understand that there's no hard life. Our generation and moving into the future, it's not a hard life. If it's hard to think and hard to feel, you need a therapist. And then once you're ready, you don't say, I want to do self-help, personal development, I want life now. You don't do that. You say, wow, okay, I'm having some shit go down. Do I want to sound like an emotionally immature, modulated, embodied version of myself? Or do I think I can do anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, surprise, like a grown woman, man, or they? So there are emotionally invincible elite squad, yes, because we're mentally invincible, because we didn't begin ruminating in a brain that was all alone in fear in a monstrous shithole. So again, people who don't want to take ownership of their childhood trauma, it is very, very sad when I get to watch them try to compare themselves to me, quote unquote. My love life has no drama. Teenage boyfriend, again, by the 3rd year, make up your mind. I have shit to do. I didn't talk again. I don't talk. Because the minute you're showing me your commitment is nothing to yourself, I know you're not really committed except for the idea and the image. And that's the part of where a pseudo-intellectual is a buffoon, because they're dressing up, but they don't care about what they're doing. So when you understand that circumstances in the night, merry, laughing, and handsome, and mirror, an invasion, a reflection of trust. These are 2 lovely streams of consciousness that came from Maria's body that I share with you. That's what I have trust for humanity, and I know that they get to choose if they have trust in themselves, only if they bring their true self forth. Otherwise, I got a buffoon that I'm going to have to respect, because it's not in my business if they create suffering in their life. Buddha gives them not an excuse, but definitely they have an image that they get to uphold, like that Zen master's laundry, and he doesn't know how to do an integrated brain. Okay, so when you see somebody dying in a desert, well, they're not dying in a desert. It's a figure of speech, and it's sad to know that they end up not taking what God brings to them. And it's not because God is not bringing to every person the opportunity to be a securely attached, healthy, self-worth person. He is. So is Mother Earth. It's all the smart scientists. It's all the therapists. They don't need spirit. People don't like when I say that. And I say, why? Are you not happy that all our brothers and sisters don't have to live in hell anymore? Because apparently it still doesn't work to talk about God and Source and Akash. They still like to use Lucifer and demonic spirits and cut cords and use a bunch of other bullshit words. So when you see spiritual bypassers, savior complex people, more and more, again, of their little facades, they'll say, I do a lot of work with my subliminal messages. It's because of me that you can get... Again, I like to share with you, I'm not looking for this. I know what I'm bringing to the table. So when I found out they don't need us, I said, oh. Then I said, they're all saved. And I cried. So yes, science saves my brothers and sisters. So I'm okay if they don't want to believe in spirit, because... Hey, Neil deGrasse, it is a miracle to be alive. Thanks, man. It's not the educational system. Oh, what's fucked up is that we have parents and people who think they know what life is, and they don't, because they don't bother to go get emotionally mature, to get their trauma healed, to actually walk a walk and talk a talk in a restorative embodiment. Yes, you can be it too. Thank you, Sadhguru, for existing. You can be him. You can Jesus, Buddha. He says you can be any of them. I say, yeah, because science proves it. In a scientific way, though. We don't need to use their names if that offends people, but it only offends people who are not emotionally mature, because that's the only ego that don't know how to differentiate themselves and notice, oh, people use words differently. Oh, that's okay. It's not a big deal. Seeing source in others does not free you from anything. No, it allows you to remember we're all a piece of creation and or energy and or, again, that divinity, that consciousness. So it's once you're at ease within yourself that you can have an open heart. Keep coming with the names. What other name calling are you going to use? So it's name calling, then people wanting to compare themselves to you. There's a bunch of different ways that I can bring to you what distortion looks like, and it's not anything pretty and it's not anything offensive because it's their trauma time. Again, I like to walk a walk and talk a talk, and no, I'm not perfect, I'm imperfect. But when I decided to do what I did, I said, oh, look, attachment trauma, I can help more people be their self. Now I know it's a red flag if you don't want to be yourself. And if you want to change yourself, that means you go to Pat Your Tan or Terry Real so that you become yourself. Now that you know how to love yourself first, and you get up in the morning and you say, wow, here's my productive day of adaptive strategies that are going to cancel out my maladaptive ones for good, and that it's okay to fall back on them, but falling back doesn't mean I'm going to fall over and into the mud and find myself completely Pinocchio. You didn't have to hit rock bottom. You get it? Okay, so moderation, it's always key, and that's only if you're a smart one. If you're a dumb one, you're going to follow the bandwagons, and I am a 45-year-old woman. There's plenty of them out there. Again, I don't expect anyone to become emotionally mature. I'm just letting you know how fun it is to be emotionally invincible, mature, mentally mature, invincible, and really just watch pseudo intellectuals and make fun of them now. Now that I have a word to play with, because I love playing with words. I'm a child inside and out, and I'm also a seeker. I love to find out more things. So with that, I'm a goody two-shoes. Ha 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 ha. So anyways. We'll be back with more. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, please, you do not heal trauma with the wrong people. So don't hang around stupid people, negative people. They have a problem for every solution. They also just follow pseudo-intellectuals and spread rumors about yoga and a lot more. And they are half intelligent, because if they were more intelligent, they would continue learning and they would stop learning from certain people. And you'd begin to spot them like a hawk. It's not internet that made any problemo. It's the people who are, again, still not securely attached, not whole brains, that are following those voices because they give them what their mind wants. An excuse to say it's not how hard you hit, that life hits you, it's not rainbows and sunshine. So when you're following somebody who's making it sound like doing, thinking, and emotion is still hard, and that's how it's supposed to always be, they're giving you a story. You have the opportunity to work with your mental, emotional, and physical capacity and faculties with a good therapist that does EMDR, chart parts, or somatics. That's what the first step. Then you're going to be able to pursue personal development, growth, and spiritual too, because the spiritual bypassers are there for reasons. So when someone gives you a story, you know that they're playing the hero, not hero, and that's, again, something that a teenager wants, because they're still hooked on dopamine in this very bullshit way, because I don't procrastinate, but there are things I'll put off because I'm overwhelmed. So that can look like the same thing, okay? So that's the part of where words don't matter. How much do you feel energized when you wake up? I'm always energized. But when I'm in a moment where I'm overwhelmed, I don't want to think about this right now because I'm upset. I know how to say I'm upset, and so I'm upset, and I'm going to, it's not good because I'll know that I'm wasting time, but at the same time, I will allow myself to know, here's my wiggle room, okay? And also, obviously, this isn't something important. If it's important, then I'm going to have to look at it whether I like it or not, and that's when you know how to work with it, so it's not hard. Again, that word hard with emotions doesn't mean anything to people who have mindfulness in the forefront and the back front, and that's what I am. So mindfulness, meditation, easy. Mindsight, easy, because Maria's body is safe, because Maria's mind is safe, because I'm a securely attached, self-led, functional child adult. So I am a mystic also. And again, I did get charmed. God, thank you for being in my life. And it's very sad for me to let you all know that you don't heal anyone and you don't save anyone. And that's one of the first lessons that I got to get from my oversoul, which is why, as a mystic, I'm happy to be here, because you don't actually do any healing for anyone. If they choose to heal themselves, they go to therapy. And if they don't, then I get to pick up on their fucking shitty-ass dreams. No, their shitty-ass energy, and I don't do anything. Thanks to my oversoul. Thanks to my oversoul, I leave it all alone, because people are living their subconscious, and they're not going to be doing much about it if I get to pick up on it the way that I already have been. If you're an empowered feminine, you don't question what's coming to you because you're not afraid of it. You also know what's yours. You also know what's not yours because you know how to recognize the energetic imprint. because every one of my brothers and sisters is an energetic imprint, and it's like a flower. So I'll be able to smell it, and then I'll be able to know it from my gut to my heart to my mind. I'll get the name. I'll get. I don't pay too much attention because again, I don't have to. It's not my job to do anything with it. And like I said, I've learned how even when you think that you can be making a difference, it's not true, because they're ruled by their own thoughts and their own way of deciding to handle that which comes up. And so the minute I have a person who's a masculine or a feminine and they're not empowered, I have a emotionally immature person who's going to be given a number of choice points, like Sadhguru presents. Life wants you to live life. God wants you to live life. God, source, call it what you want. Science wants you, thank you Neil deGrasse, to use your brain effectively. Thank you Robert Spolsky, determined, and every other smart human being out there. So science and spirituality say you can live a good life. If you want to live a suffering life, there's a Zen master for you. Okay? And I do it. And then the ones who actually struggle with thoughts and emotions, they will be saying, we can't physically do it, but we are so happy that you can. That's a mature version of a person who understands. Some people can say we got lucky. They know how to be in their restorative embodiment. That's our human makeup. That's your actual potential. If it's not, then you get good help and you don't look at somebody and continue to have envy or jealousy or spite about it. If you're working with who explains to you, so you'll say, I got the short end of the stick, but I'm so happy that some of my brothers and sisters didn't. That's how it works if you actually have compersion, monoamory or polyamory. It doesn't matter. When you're a securely attached, self-led human being with a functional child adult, you don't wish upon anybody suffering. And if you do, it's, to me, idiocy. And if somebody tells you that they don't suffer and you don't know how to actually believe it, again, thanks Patrick Chan. Anyone who has had their faith broken in humanity, they will continue to do this shit. It's a very frustrating quote-unquote existence, because I am not going to be able to tell you. The minute you show me that you don't believe in happiness, I know you suffer. Me telling you that you suffer is going to have me have one of two things. You're pretending to be positive, or I'm pointing out that you suffer, which is not nice. So I won't do that, because that's, again, why would I point out your weakness, which is you don't have a good time with life. And again, people who don't want to take accountability. So when I see someone saying emotionally immature people can, no, and your statement makes me know you are one of the ones that are just as equally disrespectful to the actual data. So the data points out what can be done, and anybody who is talking about suffering or not suffering in a way of making it a blanket statement, I'm saying some of us don't suffer because we're mentally, emotionally, physically mature. Those are the people who are going to be here who enjoy hearing about it and want to actually say, yeah, those who can, great. Those who got the short end of the stick, how can we help them to live a better life? Which there's plenty of therapists, Dr. Daniel Siegel included, who talks all about it, and I love to hear from him on how they can help those spectrums, which are, I forget if it's in the diagnostic model, there's an A, B, C, I believe. So there's one of the groups that it's actually the biochemistry and whatnot. So long story short, though, people who are proactive are not going to be upset at the ones of us who are able to feel good, is what I'm trying to get to. The ones who don't like it, that's the ones who I have nothing to say to. The ones who go and say that everyone who's emotionally mature can, they don't know how the brain works. And so no, everybody can't. And again, making that can't black and white statement means you're judging a book by its cover based on your information, and you're disregarding the fact that you're not in that person's body. You're not an expert in the field, and if you are an expert, then you'll know what I just told you. Meaning, if you care about, and I'm a personal development, I'm not an expert in all of it, but I have and continue to learn all of it. Neuroscience, neurobiology, mental health, evolutionary biology. The idiots think that we're like oog. So again, it's very clear who the dinosaurs are, and they like their little roles because, again, they like to play pretend. So you playing pretend, father pretend, mother pretend, everything. I know who you are, pseudo-alive people. You're not invisible, and you're only charming to the same lost boys, lost girls, lost days who don't want to go to Patrick Chan. It's a very clear world, YouTube land. There's the ones who follow the trending topics because they like what they hear, and then there's the ones who are like, wait a minute. and then wait a minute, and then wait a minute, and then I get to come and tell that here. So we might have a little bit more of when I think of educational podcasts to share with you, because I'm an entertainment educational, meaning that I do write educational, as you know, for Spotify and Amazon, and I'm not going to be an entertainer, but when I say educational podcasts, I'm looking to the ones who bring to you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not doing it that way because I never planned to do it that way. I'd like to be a voice, a storyteller, and to give you perspectives. And then you do one-to-one mentorship with me, or you take the masterclass, or you do the workshops, retreats, or you take the online courses. That's the plan from the get-go, because free content is free. Tiers will have a focus, and that's where I'm a marketer, entrepreneur. So again, it's common sense. And when I started to notice people think all podcasts are educational, no. Now that I know how to discern, I will be making sure to give you my 2 cents on what an educational podcast looks like, and then I won't be pointing out who the pseudo intellectuals are, because that's the part of where I find that actually unnecessary, because it's not for me to tell you who is giving you good information and who is giving you half-assed information, because those voices call to the ears of the people who want that, because it's populated YouTube with educational podcasts. So I will spotlight those who are genuine intellects, and I will then make fun of those who are pseudo-intellects. And that's because, by the way, all of our brothers and sisters, they are all contributing. Again, I come with, yes, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. There's no Lucifer, mystic here, anima mundi. Every single energetic imprint of us supports you to make a choice. And if you're following the fake ones, quote unquote, they're not fake. That means that you are prepared only for that level of commitment to your own life in this lifetime. And that is the free will that God told me every one of my brothers, sisters have, and that I've expanded to. I see source in everyone. I know if you are it and if you're not it, and I know why you won't be it, and I won't be telling you, except for, as I explained to you, integrated brain. You get to be a clear channel, because you're going to be objective. You're going to have humility, restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating. As for the emotionally immature, again, it's clear for those of us who will be forgiving, understanding, walking all together, being able to not point it out, because we know how to do the boundaries without doing your trauma dumping. You just repeat yourself, and repeating works. I have plenty of people that I repeat myself to. Again, we'll be back with some more stories. Have a good one.